If it's happening in New York, New Jersey, or Long Island, hear about it with Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.
Live from the smartwaytobuy.com studios.
Jersey Joe on the radio at 7:42. Mamma mia, you can't make this up. You can't make it up. I'm telling you, it just keeps going and going and going. And we love every minute of it. We want you to call in 877-970-2999. You're welcome to join us. And if you would be so kind to go to at Jersey Joe, JRZY, Joe Piscopo, or go to Facebook. You check me out on Facebook, Instagram, or you go to am970theanswer.com, and you will be able to see us. We really have faces for radio, but you can tune in if you feel like, and you can follow us with your iPhone, and see old Joe, Frank, and Al anyway in the studio. Debbie's at traffic control. It's 7:43. Ray McGovern is a former United States Army officer, CIA analyst. And Mr. McGovern, thank you for your service to the United States of America, sir. And thanks for joining us this morning, Ray.
You're most welcome, Joe.
So here you go. I used to prepare for President's daily briefings, and you were a CIA analyst for almost 3 decades. Tell us the presidents who you were with, Ray, if you would.
Well, on the President's Daily Brief, I wrote that for Nixon, for Ford,
Wow.
and then I briefed it one-on-one to Ronald Reagan for his first term, those 4 years, 81 to 85.
Wait, one-on-one with the Gipper man?
Well, one-on-one with his most senior aides.
Yeah.
He usually slept in, so his senior aides...
Wait, this is great. Hold on. Wait a minute. This is great. Now I love the guy even more. Wait a minute. So he would be, because he was an actor. Of course he's going to slip in, right? So the President Reagan would sleep. What's sleeping in? Till 7 or something like that?
No, more like 11.
Are you right? This is great. So what time was your briefing with President Reagan?
Well, we didn't, very rarely did we actually see the Gipper all by ourselves.
Yeah.
What we did and what he preferred is for us, like me and my partner, every other day, brief George H.W. Bush, his vice president, his Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, and his assistant for national security affairs. That was better. That was really better because they all knew that they were getting the same briefing, and they had a couple hours to prepare what they wanted to tell the president from what we told them.
Well, listen, thank you. That's great, though. By the way, 11 o'clock. I love that. So now, and you were a CIA analyst, 3 decades. So tell us, if you would, Ray McGovern, do we know for a fact that Russia hacked into the DNC?
Well, we analysts, we're trained to tell the truth and to look at evidence. The answer to your question is no, we don't know that as a fact, despite what you read in the New York Times. I noticed the New York Times headline today, Trump at Putin's side questions U.S. intelligence on to the 2016 election. Well, questioning U.S. intelligence? My God. Don't they remember 16 years ago? When U.S. intelligence served up, not mistaken, mind you, but fraudulent intelligence to justify a war in Iraq. So, this whole business about you have to take what the CIA gives you, and they give it to you with a nice little drink of Kool-Aid, that's just bizarre. Here's the Washington Post. Banner headline across the whole top of the page. Trump touts Putin's powerful denial. So the whole thing is they've concocted this story based on no evidence at all, and now they have a routine where they say, how can you doubt U.S. Well, I can doubt U.S. intelligence. I've been there. And I didn't do that, but my former colleagues did to justify the war in Iraq. This is just as bad.
Yeah. So if it wasn't Russia who hacked into the DNC, who was responsible, Ray?
Well, let me make clear. Everyone hacks, okay? Does Russia hack? Oh, of course they hack. The question is, who hacked into the Democratic National Committee computers and gave them to Julian Assange? The answer is no one. And how do I know that? Because we have 2 former technical directors of the National Security Agency, that's NSA, in our little group, in our Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity group. They have poured over the metadata, which is the only evidence really available on the web, and they found out that this Guccifer person that everybody is relying on is a fraud. That the data that he serves up was manipulated a couple of times, and so it's a matter of trying to figure out who has incentive to manufacture this legend. Now, I should make clear, Joe, that I hold no brief for Donald Trump. I think he's the worst president that we ever had.
Wow, look at you, man. Look at you.
But, even a broken clock, even a clock that lies all the time, it's right 2 times a day. And he's right about developing a decent relationship with Russia. And so the banner headline today should say, the doomsday clock, which was yesterday 2 minutes before midnight, now it's back to 5 minutes before midnight because we're talking to each other. And as Winston Churchill said, it's better to jaw than to war.
Yeah, look at that. As in, you're not a fan of President Trump, yet you got to give him credit for what he did and what he attempted to do with Vladimir Putin. Ray McGovern, former U.S. Army officer, CIA analyst, briefed presidents for 30 years. But how could he have? What should he have said? Ray McGovern, what should the president have said when the AP reporter stood up? And you knew that question was coming. How do you think the president should have dealt with that?
Well, he's not real. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, okay?
No, he's an intelligent guy, but I think he gets caught up with, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ray, he gets caught up with, he's so sensitive about this meddling and this collusion nonsense. I mean, he got too sensitive and he went too personal with it, yes?
Yeah, I think. And also, he's his own worst enemies in choosing his language. He said Putin issued a very powerful denial. Well, that's not the right thing to say. The right thing to say is that the intelligence community that I inherited lied a lot. They're still lying. And tell me, where is the evidence behind all this business about Russian interference? There isn't any persuasive evidence. That's what Trump should have said instead of implying that he believed Putin on Putin's merits, which are not all that great.
Yeah, it's exactly right. I mean, and also, do you think, and I thought this, and being in the intelligence community, all of a sudden Rosenstein, he goes, there's like 13 now GSU, former Army officers, Russian intelligence officers, they hacked it. I don't know that I'm buying any of this, Ray McGovern.
Well, Joe, you're well advised not to buy it. Look at the timing. They issued this thing 2 days before the summit. Why did they do that? Well, you can interpret that for yourself. They're trying to make it very, very, very difficult for the president to work out any kind of sensible relationship with Putin. Yeah. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of money, Joe. There's a lot of money to be made out of war and tension, especially with Russia. I mean, if peace broke out, my God, what would happen? What would happen to the arms traders? The people that Pope Francis called, the blood-soaked arms traders. Well, they are blood-soaked. They're selling lots of stuff, and there was Trump in Scotland hawking the manufacturers that make Lockheed and Grumman and all. He says, you should raise your defense expenditures to 4%, not just 2%. And by the way, the weapons you want to buy are the ones we make. Lockheed, Grumman. So it's so. Yeah,
it's a business. But what's your response to, before we let you go, Ray,
sure.
To the criticism from people like John Brennan and James Clapper?
They're running scared, Joe. There's documentary evidence that they played fast and loose with the law in trying to make sure that Trump didn't win, and then after he won, trying to sully him and impeach him. It's the Intelligence Committee on the House, which is the only one that's a real oversight committee, has the documents. They've gotten through with Peter Strzok and other middle-level or senior-level peoples in the FBI. Strzok and others are finally going to realize that they've been had. They're taking the rap for James Clapper and John Brennan.
Wow.
And John Brennan is running scared. Look what he's... He's treasonous activity.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have any editor, any break on him anymore. So that's where you're getting that.
And Ray, what about $400 million? Vladimir Putin says at the press conference yesterday, and we got to go, but $400 million went to the Hillary campaign, and most of that was illegal money. Why is no one talking about that this morning, sir?
Well, it's even worse than that, Joe. They talk about these 33,000 emails that Hillary destroyed.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? They're available. The National Security Agency collects everything that goes over the net, over the Internet.
Wow.
And so, now, maybe no one's told Trump that, but for God's sake, all he has to do is say, I don't have to ask Russia for email, for God's sake.
It's somewhere in the intel in the United States.
They scoop up everything and have the content. So, there's a the aura of unreality to this whole thing.
Yeah.
Trump knows enough to be suspicious, but he doesn't know the whole deal because they won't tell him.
Wow, Ray McGovern, what a great conversation. Former United States Army officer, CIA analyst. Mr. McGovern, thank you for your service to the United States of America. Please come back soon, Ray.
Be happy to. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody knows this guy. Now, everybody knows he can do a radio show. Joe Piscopo. Mornings, 6 to 10 on AM 970. The Answer.